Welcome back, everyone, and today we have James Harden will do this to the Cavaliers too. Now, obviously, now it is official that James Harden is now a Cavalier, and based on the title, I can tell what this is going to be about. James Harden probably dashing on the Cleveland Cavaliers whenever he feels uncomfortable there as well. And also like usual, just not showing up in the playoffs. Being extremely reliable during the regular season, but being literally someone that you cannot depend on, in the most important moments, of the season when it comes to game sevens. And yeah, but whatever. I'm sure, yes, this is this has pretty much been the pattern, for James Harden, but yeah, I'm sure this is not going to change here. So yeah. So I already, so without seeing the video, I already agree with the title. James Harden will do this to the Cavaliers too.
Clippers.
Let's go ahead and get into it.
Cleveland is going to pair up with Donovan Mitchell, 5th in the Eastern Conference standings.
It's Harden. There's also a second-round pick thrown in there as well. So 26-year-old Garland.
In his career, he hasn't missed a playoff game or a playoff opportunity in his career.
It's Monday night, February 2nd, 2026. The Los Angeles Clippers are facing off against the Philadelphia 76ers, James Harden's previous team. But something suspicious happens. James Harden was ruled out of the game for personal reasons. And given the fact that the trade deadline's just a few days away, that's very peculiar. Now, the Clippers would lose the game 128-113, but nobody's talking about the game and nobody cares about the final score. A lot of people were just wondering what the hell is going on with James Harden. Did the man decide to miss a game so he could go clubbing? Well, we got that answer a little bit later on. Shams gets on SportsCenter and drops the kind of bomb that made me roll my eyes.
LA Clippers and 11-time All-Star James Harden are working through whether they can find a trade for Harden. And my understanding is both of these sides have been aligned in these
conversations. That was so random, bro.
Possible because he has a mutual option in his contract for next season. It's a $13 million partial guarantee. That has allowed both of these sides over the last few days to have conversations about whether he has a long-term future potentially in LA. Mutually beneficial option for James Harden to land with a team that he wants to go compete for a championship. This is a Clippers team that right now is in the play-in tournament race, and the Clippers are saying, can we find a player that fits them better long-term? One of the teams that has jumped out among the most interested teams for Harden right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell, obviously championship expectations right now with the Clippers. They're one of the most interested teams in him, from my understanding. And James Harden has the power in all this. He has a no-trade clause.
James Harden wants out of Los Angeles. For the 4th time in 6 years, this man is demanding a trade. And immediately I just thought about this Brian Damaris rant. This is probably the most accurate take in sports history.
I hope you're taking notes. I'm telling you in advance, you're welcome for the wisdom I'm about to spew. Because listen, I get on my knees every night and pray for someone to believe in me like Daryl Morey believed in you. You wanted a certain coach, they brought in Mike D'Antoni. You want to play a certain style, they played it. You wanted Dwight Howard, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. You wanted Chris Paul, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. They brought in your old friend Russell Westbrook. You wanted to go to Vegas on off days, they looked away. You wanted the team to stay over so you could go out at night, they changed the schedule and it didn't work. And you know what? You said, I'm going to break up with my whoopee. Not good enough. I see the bright lights in New York. I want to go there. My old pal Kevin Durant. It's going to work. The big three. And all after 1 year, you wanted out. You realized, oh my gosh, I took this guy for granted, the guy that believed in me. I went back with Daryl Morey. They traded Ben Simmons for you. How did they pull that off? And you know what? You went there and you got a partner who got the MVP. He won the MVP. And what did you say afterwards? They didn't hand me the reins. You're the point guard. You were holding the reins. And what did you do when you had the reins? You scored 9 points in Game 7 against Boston. You blew a 3-2 series lead. They fired their coach. Not good enough. You broke up with the guy who believed in you again. You said, the bright lights of LA, that's where I want to go. Let's see if that works. Listen, James, have you ever had those friends who had bad roommates? Over and over, they complained about their bad roommates. This guy's terrible. The bad roommate here. They never thought to be self-aware enough that they're the bad roommate. They're the problem. Hey, James, you're the problem. If this doesn't work this year in this system with this team, then you're going to go and point fingers at everybody else, and you're going to go back home and you're going to start swiping right for another team, and there's not going to be anybody left. Because, James, you're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.
It's kind of...
Damn, but this guy was spitting, bro. He was spitting, like, bro. Knowledge, wisdom. I mean, this was really nothing but pattern recognition right there, and he was right though. Like with the pattern and everything, you can see right through everything. Everything that's about to happen with James Harden. Just the same thing over and over again. How are you expecting anything to be different now with the Cavaliers? I mean, Hey man, this is crazy, man. But this dude, bro, he summed it up so well. Like, dude, I know he practiced that one speech, many times before, before he got on live television, bro. Well, whatever. Harden, man.
Crazy. Didn't bro just literally tell us that he felt like he was at home? Didn't he say he wanted to leave a legacy for the Clippers? Didn't this team just go on one of the greatest turnarounds in NBA history?
Literally, bro. Like, this was so random for him, man.
6-21. They were left for dead. Then they went on an absolute tear, winning 17 of their next 22 games. Suspiciously, this all went down the moment they sent Chris Paul home. But I digress. After all of this, now James Harden wants out in the middle of that? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And I'm gonna make sense out of all of it. Because the reason behind this is something that we've seen from James Harden before. Something that has followed this man his entire career. And honestly, the Clippers might have brought this on themselves. But before we get into why, I need to take you through the
the Clippers are gonna be the Clippers at the end, so
timeline of what happened, because the drama on this one is on a completely different level. PrizePicks is back with their free square promo for the Super Bowl, and I have the perfect play for us to take advantage of this. Just wait till you see this. First, get $50 when you make a play of $5 or more when you use my promo code microphone when you sign up for PrizePicks, and then tail this pick. Either pair the Drake May free square or what I
hey, you guys go ahead and check that out, okay?
Because it's Taco Tuesday. Luka Doncic needs 25 points. What's going?
Dude, I don't care about these ads, bro.
Going on, everybody? You guys have to understand the full context of this situation to really understand how crazy this situation is. Back in September of 2024, James Harden goes on the Joey Lynn podcast and tells the whole world that I'm home. I don't plan on going anywhere else. I want to leave a legacy. Those were his exact words. It's not something that got taken out of context. It's not even something that the media spun. He looked straight into the camera and said it. And that wasn't the only time he said this either. January of 2024, a reporter asked him flat out, do you want to finish your career with the Clippers? Harden didn't hesitate here.
I thought the same thing last team I was going to come here home. You know what I mean? We have opportunity. Like, I want to be able to keep a core together for a few years. I hasn't had that opportunity these last few years, so things are going well, and I'm happy.
And then you fast forward to just last month, January of 2026. Harden told ESPN that he felt blessed to be playing in his hometown.
Man, the support has been high level since I've been here, and today was a special day. We dropped the Hellcat.
Damn, bro. Harden, bro.
Love is appreciated for sure, but this entire organization, from top to bottom, has shown me love, and I kind of want to reciprocate that. So I wanted to give them some shoes and kind of celebrate, tonight and the love that I have for them and on return.
So that is 3 times that James Harden has reaffirmed his commitment to the Los Angeles Clippers. And it gets even crazier when you realize that this is the 4th time that James Harden has done this. Houston in November of 2020, after everything the Rockets gave him, James Harden threw a tantrum to get traded out of there, including showing up to a game overweight and going
he fat suited himself. He fat suited his way out of Houston, bro. This is crazy.
Viral, which people speculate was a fat suit, and then throwing a basketball at Jayshawn Tate in the middle of practice. Then he got traded to Brooklyn, but then demanded a trade from Brooklyn in February of 2022. He wanted to reunite with Daryl Morey. Philadelphia was seen as the perfect situation for the guy. He was teaming up with an MVP. He was a point guard and had arguably the best center in the NBA on his team at the time. But when that wasn't enough for him, he demanded a trade once more, famously going viral for saying this about Daryl Morey.
Daryl Morey is a liar. Let me say it again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of.
So he gets traded.
Bro, that was so crazy.
Says he's happy to be home, and now he demands a trade once again. 4 trade requests across 4 different teams. At this point, James Harden doesn't request trades. This is just an annual tradition. Forget All-Star Weekend. James Harden's real holiday is trade deadline week. But here's what I want you to keep in mind as we go through this. There's a reason he flipped this fast, and when I show you, it's gonna make a lot more sense later on in this video. Before we get into why James Harden wants out, you gotta understand what he's walking away from, because this is what makes it so mind-blowing. I mean, look at what John Collins had to say about this situation.
I don't know too much right now. I'm going to continue to see how it unfolds.
Would that be a disappointment to see him go at this stage?
Hell yeah. I mean, it definitely be, again, a shock for me. I feel like for the team, our season turnaround, so definitely just something different. So I'm out of left field, but we'll, again, continue to handle it as it unfolds.
Here's why John Collins is so frustrated. The Clippers started this season at
Like,
6-21.
because Harden was literally a big reason for this turnaround too. Like him and Harden honestly put the entire Clippers on their back. You know, like they had multiple games where, you know, they combined for like 60, 50 some points. Like, bro, I reacted to almost all of these games, bro. Like, and it's just crazy, like, for him to just go ahead and, like, bro, come on, man.
Bad. They got blown out by the Jazz on opening night by 21 points. There were no vibes, no hope. This team was dead. In fact, out of 121 teams in NBA history that started with a record of 6-21 or worse, only 2 have ever made it to the playoffs. The 1952-53 Baltimore Bullets and the 1984-85 Cleveland Cavaliers. That's how rare what the Clippers were about to do really was. And then something clicked. Starting around December 20th, this team just took off. They were 17-5 over their next 22 games. Kawhi Leonard started looking like prime Kawhi again, dropping 30-point games like it was nothing, shooting over 41% from 3. He was leading the league with 2 steals a game, and James Harden was right there next to him, averaging 24.4 points and 8.1 assists on the season. His best scoring output since his 2019-20 campaign in Houston, when he was winning scoring titles. The team became the first team in NBA history to go 3-16 and 16-3 in the same season. A Clippers blogger named Robert Flom had to literally print out and eat his own tweet after he predicted they'd be one of the worst teams in the league. And credit to the man for actually doing it. They climbed from dead last all the way to the 9th seed. They were 10-1 at home during that stretch. This was a full-blown miracle season in the making. And James Harden had tremendous individual success as well. On January 12th, he passed Shaq for 9th on the NBA's all-time scoring list. He's now 9th all-time in scoring, 12th all-time in assists, and 2nd all-time in three-pointers made, behind only Steph Curry. So James Harden is in the midst of a remarkable season. So why on earth would he demand a trade? Well, it comes down to one simple reason. It's just about money. According to Clutch Sports insider Tomer Azerly, who broke down the full inside story, James Harden wanted a 2-year, fully guaranteed deal worth $80 million after this season. And the Clippers told him no. Not maybe, not let's talk about it later. It was a straight up no. The reason is because the franchise has been laser focused on preserving their cap space heading into the summer of 2027. And they were not willing to commit to any player beyond that 26-27 season. And Mark Stein and Jake Fisher confirmed it, saying it's all about a contract extension. That's the whole thing right there. Harden wants security. The Clippers want flexibility, and those two things don't live in the same house. And here's what makes this even messier. Harden's current deal is already complicated. He signed a 2-year, $81.5 million contract last offseason. He's making $39.2 million this year. The second year is a player option worth $42.3 million. But here's the part that matters. Only $13.3 million of that is guaranteed. So technically, Harden could opt in, and the Clippers could just waive him before July 11th and only owe him $13 million instead of $42. If you're a 36-year-old future Hall of Famer averaging 25 and 8, you are not sleeping well at night knowing the team can cut you loose for pennies on the dollar. And think about this from Harden's perspective for a second. This dude literally took a pay cut to come back to the Clippers. He opted out of a player option and re-signed for a deal that the team structured to protect the Clippers' interests, not his. This is now the second straight offseason where Harden has negotiated with the Clippers and ended up on a short-term deal with a partially guaranteed option. In 2024, he signed a 2-year, $70 million deal with a player option. Then last summer, he declined that option to sign the current $81.5 million deal, again with a player option, again with partial guarantees. At some point, Harden probably looked at the pattern and said, I keep doing right by this team, and they keep giving me deals with escape hatches. Which brings us to the question, why are the Clippers so stuck on 2027? Well, that's when their books clear out. The only player on their roster signed through 2028 is Ivica Zubac. They're dreaming about that 2027 free agent class. We're talking about guys like Nikola Jokic, Giannis, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, and Donovan Mitchell, who could all theoretically theoretically hit the market. The Clippers want max cap space so they could go free agent hunting, and committing $80 million to a 37-year-old James Harden would blow that up. So I get it from both sides. Harden's not wrong for wanting the bag. He's earned it. The Clippers aren't wrong for wanting flexibility. That's smart business. But what you can't do is tell a guy, hey, we love you, you're our guy, and we want you here, and then refuse to put that in writing. That's what started this whole thing.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code.
Thing. Flexibility. That's smart business. But what you can't do is tell a guy, hey, we love you, you're our guy, and we want you here, and then refuse to put that in writing. That's what started this whole thing. Now, I showed you John Collins' reaction. Look at how apathetic Kawhi Leonard is about James Harden demanding a trade.
That's about no comment on it. Respect his decision or whoever decision it is. And that's it. He's still gonna be my boy. And, trust the fans.
So now that we broke down why Harden wants out, let's talk about where he wants to go. And this is where the story gets really interesting. Okay, so now we know why James Harden wants out, and the number one contender was the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Cleveland Cavaliers
so it's about
were the
money,
ones that
okay.
ended up trading for him. As of Tuesday night, shops broke the news. The LA Clippers have officially traded James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for Darius Garland and a 2026 second-round pick. That's it. That's the whole package. No first-round picks, no extra players, no complicated three-team deal, just two all-star point guards swapping cities straight up with the second-rounder attached. And just like that, James Harden is on his 6th team. But here's the thing that makes this way deeper than just a basketball trade. The Cavaliers aren't doing this randomly. The reason for this is absolutely insane. The major reason they're willing to suddenly blow up their core four of Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen is because of Donovan Mitchell. According to Brian Windhorst,
here that the Cavs are moving away from believing in this core. And I think the genesis of this is because they're worried that Donovan is not going to re-sign this summer.
Mitchell's on a deal that runs through 2026 to 27 with a player option for 2027 to 28, meaning if he's unhappy, he can walk during the 2027 offseason and the Cavs would get nothing. And apparently, the Cavaliers front office is concerned that this might be their last chance to convince Mitchell to commit long term. Think about it, guys. The Cavs were 64-18 last season, the best record in the Eastern Conference, and then they got bounced in the first round by the Pacers. Donovan Mitchell still has never been to a conference finals in 9 NBA seasons. That has to be eating at him. And if Cleveland doesn't make a deep run this year, why would Mitchell lock himself in for 4 more years when he can just test free agency and go to a bigger market? So the Cavs are in full panic mode, and that's why they already started making moves. On January 31st, Cleveland made the first big move of the trade deadline, trading DeAndre Hunter to the Sacramento Kings in a 3-team deal that brought back Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. On the surface, this trade looked like a simple depth move. Schroeder gives them a veteran backup point guard who's averaging about 13 points and 5 assists. Ellis is a young defensive specialist, one of only 2 players in the NBA averaging 2 steals and 1 block per 36 minutes this season. But the real purpose of that trade was to clear salary. Hunter was making $23 million this season and was owed nearly $25 million next year. By moving him, the Cavs saved about $50 million in salary and luxury tax, dropping them out of the dreaded second apron. And that, guys, wasn't a coincidence. That was step 1. The Hunter trade was the Cavaliers clearing the deck to make a much bigger move. They were getting under the luxury tax apron specifically so they could absorb James Harden's $39 million salary. According to Yahoo Sports' Kelly Iko, Cleveland's interest in Harden actually dates back to December, when the Clippers were in the middle of their awful 6-21 start. The Cavs have been plotting this for months. Now, here's the thing about a Harden for Garland swap that makes it work on paper. Both guys are making almost the exact same amount of money. Harden at $39.2 million and Garland at $39.4 million. So the salaries match up perfectly without needing a third team. But the value proposition is where it gets debatable. You're swapping a 26-year-old 2-time All-Star point guard for a 36-year-old former MVP. That goes against every rule in the NBA trade handbook. You never trade young young for old. But here's the counter argument. Garland can't stay healthy. He had toe surgery in the offseason and has only played in 26 games this year. He's missed the last 9 games straight with a grade 1 right big toe sprain. Meanwhile, Harden has played in 44 out of 48 games. And for Cleveland, this isn't about 5 years from now. This is about right now. This is about keeping Donovan Mitchell happy and making a deep playoff run before he walks out the door. If you're the Cavaliers and you believe Harden gives you a better chance to win this year and it potentially convinces Donovan Mitchell to stay, then age doesn't matter. And Harden next to Mitchell makes a lot of basketball sense.
Thing is, Harden cannot be trusted in the playoffs. We all know this, bro. He's probably gonna vanish.
Harden is significantly bigger than the 6'1" Garland. That fixes the undersized backcourt problem Cleveland has had all year. Harden takes off ball handling pressure from Donovan Mitchell, who hasn't gotten much help from Lonzo Ball this season either. And at his core, Harden is still one of the best playmakers in the league. He'd be feeding Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen in ways that would open up the whole offense. Look at what he's done for Ivica Zubac's career.
Okay, great.
Bro, these ads, bro. Come on.
Are you even listening? You haven't taken a single note.
Now, I know what people are thinking. Why would the Los Angeles Clippers do this? They just went on a 17-5 run. They were climbing back into the playoff picture. Kawhi Leonard just got named an All-Star. Why would they blow this all up? Here's why. According to CBS Sports, the Clippers were the oldest team in the NBA entering this season, built around a 36-year-old Harden and a 34-year-old Kawhi Leonard. This roster had no long-term future. Harden was never going to get the $80 million extension he wanted from LA because the Clippers have been obsessed with clearing the books for the summer of 2027. They let Paul George walk for that reason. They moved Norman Powell for John Collins for that reason. And now James Harden's gone for that same reason. So what did they get back? They got a 26-year-old two-time All-Star who's 10 years younger than the guy they just shipped out. Garland is under contract through 2028, meaning that the Clippers finally have a young building block that they can pair with Ivica Zubac moving forward. Is Garland as good as James Harden right now? No. Not even close. But the Clippers aren't thinking about right now. They're thinking about 2 years from now.
Yeah, they're thinking about the future.
And a young point guard already in place. Now flip it to Cleveland. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, this is a pure win now play, and honestly, it makes a ton of sense. They're swapping an injury-prone 26-year-old who's only played 26 games this season for a healthy 36-year-old averaging 25-8 who's played in 44 of 48. They're getting off of Darius Garland's contract, which is $42 million next year and $45 million the year after, and they're replacing it with Harden's deal that has a player option worth only $13.3 million guaranteed. That gives Cleveland a ton of financial flexibility this summer. They can duck under the second apron, which opens up mid-level exceptions, trade exceptions, and all the tools they need to keep building around Donovan Mitchell. And that's really what this whole thing is about. This trade is essentially a love letter to Donovan Mitchell. It's Cleveland saying, we're not content with early playoff exits anymore. We're going all in. Please stay. Basketball-wise, Harden next to Mitchell is a problem for every team in the East. At 6'5", Harden is 4 inches taller than Garland, which fixes Cleveland's undersized basketball issue overnight. You've got two guys who can create their own shot, run the pick and roll, and make plays for Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. The Clippers scored at the rate of the third best offense in the NBA when Harden was on the floor this season. Now imagine that next to Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen with Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder off the bench. That's a real contender. I applaud the Cleveland Cavaliers for making this trade. It clearly wasn't working with Garland. This is one of the rare occasions where it makes sense to trade for an older player to try to get your team into championship contention. I think both sides got what they wanted here, but let me know in the comment section down below who you think won this trade. Aside from that, I don't know if you guys heard, the Utah Jazz just traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. and the Giannis trade rumors have gotten crazier. There's a brand new contender that is potentially trading for Giannis tomorrow. I'm gonna leave a link to that in the end screen and I'll meet you guys there. I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.
Damn, bro. So now we get to see both sides of why this trade even happened, you know? They're trying to keep Donovan Mitchell happy by, I guess, stacking the deck, a little more, a lot more, to make sure he gets out of the second round, because they're honestly really thinking about now to give Donovan Mitchell enough reasons, to stay. And at the same time, the Clippers, they're thinking about later, So to a certain extent, I can definitely understand both sides. Honestly, to see who won that trade, honestly, we would have to wait for real, bro. We would have to wait for real, like in the future. Probably like in a couple years, honestly, because we have to see how the rebuild is going to work for the Clippers, and also in the future, like if this year, if James Harden and Donovan Mitchell can go past the second round, then if Donovan Mitchell, because of that, decides to stay, then however they're gonna manage to do this with him in a future years, that right there is gonna give us a better telling of who won this trade. I can't tell right now who won this trade, but hey, whatever. You guys let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.